everyone. We are going to be creating something inspired by the work of Andy Goldsworthy. Now, you need to start by deciding on what material you're going to use. And I have chosen leaves because it's fall. There's a lot of really pretty colored leaves out there. But you could also work with sticks or rocks. It just kind of depends on what you're able to find outside of where you're at. So I was able to find a lot of different colored leaves. I looked for different colors, but I also looked for different sizes. Some are big, some are small. I tried to stick with the same shape though. So kind of that long sort of football pointed shape. I didn't go for, the different kinds of leaves that have, more of like an oak leaf or a maple leaf. So I'm working with these. My first job really is to kind of organize my space with what I have. So I could sort these by color. I could sort them by shape. Although for mine, it's pretty much the same shape. Or I can sort them by size. So for me, I think I'm going to sort with color. So I'm going to get all my greens out first and kind of sort those out. If I were working with a different material, I probably wouldn't be able to sort with color as much. I think that'd be a little bit harder with maybe rocks or sticks, but definitely you could sort by size or sometimes shape too. You might be able to find different shape rocks. So. All right, so I'm putting kind of my greens to one side here, putting my yellows to another side. Maybe I'll put my reds and oranges up around the top of my paper here. And that's just gonna help me with what I wanna do next. So if you're working outside, obviously that's how Andy Goldsworthy does his work, is he tends to work outdoors. Just for being able to do the video, I had to work inside. So I'm kind of working on just a blank piece of paper here. Pretty big one though. I would say I would have rather have worked outside because it looks a lot nicer when you build your nature art out in nature. But you gotta do what you gotta do. If it's raining outside, you might have to work inside. Or if it's really cold or really windy, maybe working with leaves when it's windy wouldn't work very well for you. So, all right, so I'm almost done sorting here. I have a lot of these red ones. Now I have to kind of decide my next step. Am I going to be creating a shape with these leaves? Am I going to create maybe a line design? Do I want to focus on size and go and do something that goes from biggest to smallest? Or do I want to do something that goes from one color to the next? So these are all decisions I really kind of have to make ahead of time before I start building, because otherwise I'm going to kind of get lost trying to decide what to do while I'm building. All right, so as we work, it's always usually a good idea if you're doing a shape to start in the middle and kind of work your way out. If you're doing a line, like a spiral or a zigzag or something like that, then it's probably easier to start on one end of the line and kind of work your way towards the other. So I apparently have some orange leaves as well. All right, so when I get started, I think I am going to work on shape. I'm going to work with a circle. And I want to work with color change. So I'm going to start with, I think, my reds first. So I'm going to work with my reds first. And then my oranges. I'm going to go in color order. And then my yellows. And then my greens, which are over here. All right, so when I start with my reds, I'm going to just start kind of organizing what I have. So the goal here is not to create something that's going to be glued per se. It's really more focused on building it in the moment. And then, nature kind of reclaims it. So if you're working with leaves, a lot of times you're going to find that they blow away. And that's actually part of the process. That's why Andy Goldsworthy uses a camera to document his work, because it doesn't last. I'm going to have to pop these stems off. They're kind of getting in the way here. So I'm working right now, kind of working out in a circle way, so it all kind of comes to the middle here. And I'm just sort of layering my reds right now. Now, as I move on from my reds into my oranges, then I'm going to shift. I don't love this leaf. I feel like it's a little bit dark, so I'm going to take that one out. So this is kind of a game where you sort of have to play around with things till you kind of get them the way you like them. And I think the rest of my reds are maybe a little too big for what I'm doing here. All right, so once I have my reds where I want them, then I'm going to start adding in the orange ones that I have. So I'm working from the middle out. If I work from the outside in, that probably would be okay too for something like a circle if you wanted to kind of define your edges. So the part of the leaf that I see in mine that stays is the bottom, but if you wanted like the tip of the leaf, you might have to turn them the other way to kind of work on them. All right, so now I'm working on layering these orange ones. And then after, hopefully I have enough orange ones. After I add my orange in, I'm gonna start adding in my yellow and then finishing up with my green. So this is just kind of a matter of sort of playing with what you have and figuring out what'll work. I might find that I don't end up with enough orange leaves. Maybe I have to go back out and get a few more. And that's just the way it works when you're playing around with stuff like this. So the goal after you've created your nature-inspired artwork is to photograph it, because this isn't going to stay this way. I mean, yeah, I suppose I could glue the leaves down, but that's not really the point. So really the thing that lasts with Andy Goldsworthy's artwork is the photograph. So you should hopefully have a device at home that you can take a picture with, and you want to actually, your artwork that you keep isn't necessarily the leaves, it's actually going to be the picture of the leaves. So when you're all finished, you want to take a picture, maybe a couple of pictures. You could try taking them, you know, from different angles. You could take one where you're directly above it. You could take another picture where maybe you're looking at it from like an ant's eye view rather than a bird's eye view. So you're like down on the ground. But playing around, I would say maybe try 5 different pictures from different places around your art, and then kind of decide on what you think is the best picture from there, and that can be your finished artwork. All right, so obviously I still need to keep working on mine, but I've got my red and my orange done. So I hope you have fun with this. I look forward to seeing the photos.